I'm so excited to welcome to the Work and Live Large podcast. Raj, it's wonderful to have you here and to connect again after so many years.
Thank you so much for having me. I think we met back in 2019 in Brisbane, right? During the WordCamp talk.
That's it. And it was really brief. I keep saying, it's been a while since we saw each other, but I think we had like a 2-minute chat.
I totally remember it. Your brother, he was attending my session and he ran out and he was like, okay, come meet Raj, right?
So exactly. I didn't even see your session, but my brother, Randall, shout out if he's listening. He ran, he goes, Leanne, you should have been in this session because he had the ability to choose different tracks. And so you've got to meet this Raj guy. He's so inspirational. So we ran in, had a quick chat and then connected over Twitter and everything else, LinkedIn.
That was even one of my best moment and best talk, I believe. I get to meet so many people. I get to share myself. So it was overall a great moment for me. And the best part is I met you and I've been following your journey since. And I'm like, wow, this girl is dynamic. Like she's traveling, she's talking, she's doing so many things at one time. And I have so many difficulties deciding what I should do next, or am I stagnant in life or what?
So do I.
Some serious goals to us.
Yeah, well, don't worry. I mean, I love variety, and I think we were tweeting, and I was in Dubai, and you're at Dubai at the same time. So all these like random things that have happened over the years, and then COVID, of course, and now we are here on Zoom. By the way, we'll put a link to your YouTube, that talk from that conference. I know there's a YouTube video, so we'll link to that in the show notes. If you think, what are Leanne and Raj talking about? We'll put a link to his WordCamp speech there for you. But I want to kick off. I usually ask people about their career, but I want to start at a specific time for you. And this is, I think it's around 2010 when you find yourself unemployed. Can you sort of start the story and set the scene for what your life was like then?
All right. So I think I've been struggling since my young self because probably I grew up in a very challenging environment. So growing up in a slum here in India, it's pretty challenging. You kind of below poverty line, you have bare minimum. You need to, adjust to whatever you have kind of a situation. So these things and the challenges has been there since the beginning. And until 12th grade, I'm still in school, so I couldn't step out or take up a job just to help my parents out or my family out. But soon after that, I started my career. So that was when I was like 17 or something. I was even scared that I might get flunked in my chemistry paper, though it doesn't matter now because I'm still a dropout. I still don't have any degree with me, but I was totally freaked out. Like where my life is heading. And I started taking up all kinds of odd jobs, though I always wanted to work in tech, but you end up working in all sort of non-technical jobs just to keep the ball rolling, And apparently back in 2006 was kind of a rock bottom for me in my life. I think I grew up and matured as a person back in 2006 when I was around 18 years old, because I met with an accident. And I was told that my doctors are going to amputate my right leg. And that was the first time I took a mature decision of just running away from the hospital.
Really?
So I convinced my mom that if they do, I am going to end my life anyway. So let me take the decision for myself, be with me, and let's leave from here. And I'll see what happens after that. And I think that is the moment of my maturity, rather, where I took a complete control of my life. And I'm like, okay, nobody is controlling me anymore. Okay. Luckily, I did not end up, making it worse. It worked in my favor. I do have a ugly scar, but I think it's just a remembrance like, okay, I got through a bad time. But I think that was the time when, everything was piling up together. I had to kind of drop out in my final year because we couldn't afford the end year fees. I started working in McDonald's. That is how I started. And soon, kind of after, working as an ice cream delivery guy, and then probably, working in call centers and other things, which are pretty normal in India. Like if you don't have degree, maybe start like this. Ended up having a good office job. It was still a kind of a trainee job, but I started there. And that is where my true learning started, like interacting with the clients and customers and all that. But that didn't last for long. I ended up leaving that job, and for 2 years it was horrific for me. Like, I was struggling with my own self, identifying what am I doing wrong, where can I improve myself, how do I get back, and those 2 years, I tried to get a job and everything, but I think those 2 years were full of realization. I have seen my mother mortgaging all her gold and everything just to get the monthly groceries, kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting silent and I'm helpless. After 2 years, kind of, I moved out of the city. This was kind of the first time in my life I am staying away from my family. uh, Probably even after not having so much, I think still my parents were there, my family was there, so I was still in my comfort zone. So I would say that my actual entrepreneurship, or the entrepreneurial journey, started when I left my house, back in 2012. So I moved to this new city, and that was kind of like bouncing back after 2 years of literally not doing anything. So maybe those 2 years were like constructing that spring that will make me bounce still higher. That kind of a situation. So I moved to this new city, I got a job over there, but I apparently got kicked out after a few months because I was incompetent. And somewhere I agree to that fact, because I don't know, I was still figuring out things, and I couldn't live up to the expectation they had. But the only problem was I didn't want it to come back because I've stayed unemployed for 2 years. And for me, it was important to stay away than again witness all the worst things my family is going, probably because of me, because I'm not doing anything good in my life. So I wanted to stay back, but staying back would cost you, right? I mean, you have to pay for your, your hostel, for your food and everything. So apparently, I couldn't afford all of that. So a few days I lived on street, uh, I used to skip my meals. I lost like over 10 kgs. And it was a difficult time, of course.
Yeah.
But that was a time, it was like hitting the rock bottom. And now it's like, what do you have to lose, like, you literally like a complete clean slate, and you can do whatever you want. So what do you want to do? You want to go on the opposite direction and mess your life like a lot of people do, or you want to take a full control of your life? That is what you always wanted, right? And I decided to go the other way. And luckily, some people, they trusted me when I was starting out, and I started building their websites and everything. That is how I started my first company. And luckily, I managed to get one website. It was actually one of the clients who got kicked out from the previous company. And because I was really kind to him, I was really very respectful to him, he kept me in his good books. And when I started, I happened to meet him somewhere at a coffee shop, and he was a little angry at me, like, you guys didn't treated me well, I am kind of a celeb in this city. And I'm like, but he also added that, but I liked you. You totally respected me, you totally attended me so well, even if your seniors were not so welcoming. So what are you doing? So I'm like, I started my own and this and that. And he was like, okay, can you develop a website for me? And wow, that was my start. So it is more like you be kind, and the kindness finds you, the kindness comes back to help you out. And probably that kindness back then, when I was literally nothing, I did not had anything to give back, but my kindness, I think it paid off. And that is how I started. And he actually started referring us a lot of clients. And ever since that time, I strongly believe, even today, as a marketer, as a entrepreneur, I totally believe in nurturing my clients, being customer centric at all times, because we are dealing with humans. All they want is to get heard. All they want is, to have the human to human connection. I don't believe in these bots. As a marketer, I'm ashamed to even say this thing, but I don't follow all these tools and metrics. Honestly, that doesn't define anything. That just gives me more reasons to create something to trap more people into my funnel. But what I strongly believe in is working right at the bottom of it to give a very customer centric service, being customer centric, because it has always worked for me. But even at that point of time, building the website was not easy. Yes, I was doing computer science, but it was already around 5 years that I developed anything. I interacted with code, but luckily I found WordPress and I'm like, wow, technology has boomed. Like, you have a content management system. You just need a little bit of basics, to get used to it. And I still remember I built that first website kind of 50 times.
50 times?
Yeah. I was breaking everything, rebuilding everything, breaking everything, because I was learning. Even certain things, how to pronunciate it was a difficult for me because it was a complete new environment, right? So, and at the same time, another challenge was I did not had a system. I did not have a laptop or anything. So I used to borrow it from this kid who used to come to take a mentorship from me. So I had a deal with him. So every time you go to classes, you have this 1 hour, leave your system with me so I can develop that site. So it's like you have limited time, you are developing, but oh my God, you still have a lot to learn, right? But your time is over. So next day. So that is how I built that website like 50 times, learning the entire technology around it. Even showing the client, how the website is coming up and all. And luckily he was happy. And I was so happy when he handed that first check to me. I'm like, wow, this feels so good, And this entire thing was going on with no name. It's just me. And I am telling people that trust me with your work. But there's no name to the company. Even the first check came on my name. But then after almost 1 month, I decided to name my company Etica Studio. So Etica in Spanish means ethics. So why that came up is because when I decided to kind of start my own, one of my boss's friend, he called me at his cabin and he was like, how are you going to manage? You don't know anyone. You're new here. How are you going to survive and all? I was like, I'll start my own. And he showed me certain reality, like starting a business is not easy. You need money, you need resources, etc. What do you have? And probably I was naive. I was too, immature. I said, I have ethics. And, he smirked at me. But
that's really important in business, right? I mean, like, that's what you stand. I mean, that's a really strong foundation to stand on.
Yeah, that is a good foundation, but that's not practical, right? I mean,
okay, fair enough.
You have ethics. Okay, grow your business with ethics, You don't even have laptop, maybe, code on ethics. But I thought, it was immature, but I strongly believed in that because I got my first client because I was ethical, I was kind. So I thought that's the way to go in life. So I named my company Etica Studio. I registered my domain and back in 2012, September, and my journey started as an entrepreneur, as a first-time entrepreneur. But next few months were difficult. But I think every challenges that came in, falling out with partners or falling out with the even the staff, not able to provide enough and stuff like that, not having projects at times. I think all of those were the lessons I was learning. It was like having an MBA class with real life experiences adding to it, right? So instead of giving up, like, feeling like giving up as an entrepreneur, I think I started becoming more and more fearless. Because I always thought that I stayed on street. Come on, man. I did not have food to eat for 10 days. And how bad this could be.
Okay, can I just pause you right there? Because that's like, I became a solopreneur in 2019, and my worst nightmare, I think people that are listening to this, like, you think about leaving your job and then the next thought is, if things don't work, I'm going to be on the street. And that is like the worst case scenario. And Raj, like, you live that. What I love that you said before is that it was rock bottom, but I had two choices. And one was, I could just continue down that path in gravity, but you decided to be intentional and pull yourself out of it. Which I just want to commend and just mark that as a really important decision that you made, in that fork in the road. But the other thing that you talked about, and this is like right at the beginning of our conversation, was that 2 years and how you said you kind of needed that time to provide the springboard for you. And I think a lot of the time, I don't know if it's our generation, I am like on the cusp of being a millennial, but I sort of, when I decide that I want something, I want it to happen right now, like immediately. And I just cannot wait. Can you talk about timing? Because your journey, it's happened over time. You've gone through ups and downs. What does sort of timing mean to you?
See, I'm sure that you must have heard that, oh, the overnight success could take 10 years or more than that, So what I believe is focusing on my journey, because every single day it unfolds something surprising. Life is full of surprises, right?
Yeah.
And you learn so much. If you keep focusing on your end goal, you will miss out everything that is happening throughout your journey. While I was building,
I needed to hear that today.
So, I'm married now to my long time girlfriend. I would say she accepted me when I was literally nothing. I was still struggling. She knew all my things, that this guy is not even stable. He doesn't know where to go next. But she stick around. I met her back in 2012, right when I was, the kind of time when I was struggling. But she stick around. Today we are married. We are happily married and all. So that she is the important part of my journey. Like if I was always or only focused on, hey, I want to be a successful entrepreneur, I want to earn a lot of money, I would have missed out on that thing, So for me, if I want to remember something, I remember the worst things happened to me, the people who wronged me, but that is like hardly 1% of my memory now. All my memories are the amazing people I met. My now wife, I met her, the amazing time I spent with her, the amazing brainstorming, like I want to do these things, and it all sounded so crazy. Like even today, when we take out our old diaries and all the things I have wrote, it was like, okay, everything we have today was once a dream, and we are living that, so that pulls us, keep us grounded and be grateful to what we have today. So I don't set any time. Yes, you should have short-term, mid-term, long-term goals because you have to stay course. But at the same time, don't be so obsessed with your destination. Enjoy the journey, consider it as a road trip and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the journey on the road. So for me, I think timing doesn't matter. Yeah, of course, if I compare, I am 34. I lived in slum until I was 23 years old. So I would say if I'm living a decent life, is just probably past 5-6 years. Before that, it was all difficult. So I cannot set a time to it, but I can be hopeful that things are going to be positive,
I want to call, I mean, what you're talking about before, like the 1% of negative things, you sort of cast them aside and you focus on the 99% of like gifts in the world and amazing situations that have happened. So is that mindset that you have thinking that way? Have you always had that? I mean, I'm thinking about the time where it was really tough, pre 6 years of success now. Success, I shouldn't even call it success, of your different life now. Like, let's talk us through, like, when you woke up in the morning, what was going through your mind? Was it a battle to survive, or was it, where are the opportunities? Like, what was going through your mind when you opened your eyes every day?
I never worried about the survival part because I come from a very difficult background, so we have seen the worst. What worse could happen? Do I have to again live on street or something like that? No, fine. I used to wake up with what more I can do. How can I be a better version of myself? How can I upskill myself? How can I improve the overall offering to my customers? And how can I work on, making my people refer more and more clients to me? So it was more like, how can I be better at everything that I'm doing, And my goal since I was a kid, like, because I come from a slum, I had difficult time and I have faced a lot of negativity from my friends, from my teachers, from my colleagues, everyone. They try to judge me from where I come, right? So for me, it was important to focus on being the best version of myself. So if somebody asked me, even when I was a kid, like, what do you want to do in life? And I never talked about money, even when I was not having any. I always talked about, I want to be a person the society will look up to and respect, because when you come from such backgrounds, you are not the respected person. The people feel entitled to kind of put you down for no reasons, rather. Maybe that's how the society works. So for me, my goal was to be a person the society will respect, the society will look up to, and they see me beyond the slumdog. Like, your background, your financial background doesn't define you. What define you is who you are. And I wanted to be that individual, showcasing my best version. So probably even today, I wake up with that thought, like, how can I be better?
Yeah, it's so inspiring, because a lot of the time the environment can have such an impact on what we think about ourselves, but you sort of seem to be able to push that aside and say, no, it's all about the value and how can I be a better version. But I also want to point on the laptop thing and the 1 hour example, because I would love to just go, right, Leanne, you only have an hour on the laptop today and you've just got to make the most out of it. That, as I talk to you, I feel like, oh my gosh, there's no excuse for any of us to not be able to be the best version of ourselves. When I hear a story like that, and I haven't had any, I can't compare challenges that I've had compared to what you've been through. The 1 hour laptop experience where you're learning to code, I'm just sort of laughing. I'm thinking, like, you're getting to the end of the hour, the kid's back to pick up his laptop, and you're just getting, like, you're breaking through a concept on WordPress or some type of the site build. How did you go with, like, another day? Like, how did you continue to build on that?
It required a lot of patience.
Yeah, I bet.
It was definitely frustrating at times, but I think, I continued on pen and paper. I literally used to just go complete pen and paper. I still use pen and paper, by the way.
Same.
So whatever is left out and whatever I have to do kind of tomorrow, I used to do right on the paper. I used to have a complete roadmap, because the time is limited. You can't waste time in researching and all that. And if you remember back in 2012, all this whole smartphone kind of an era was still kind of booming at the time. And of course, I was at a situation where I was using a Symbian phone. I couldn't afford the Android. Androids were there, but I couldn't afford it, right? So during that time, it was like I would just go complete pen and paper. I would continue brainstorming to myself. There's no Google, there's no research, there's no nothing, but everything I did today and what I can do tomorrow. So that used to keep me going. So I never felt the disconnect. Maybe I was accepting, rather fighting back and being anxious, being negative. I was accepting what is happening at that moment. If I get laptop for 1 hour, I get laptop for 1 hour. Just accept it. The moment you start accepting things, it becomes easy. Like, if you keep scaring a person, how long you can go with that? At one point, the person is like, okay, that's like everyday's things. I don't care anymore. So that was my situation.
Oh, so good. Yeah. Radical acceptance is really important. And I think also this weird association we have with, to be working, I need to be in front of a screen, but you just spoke about how you could continue the momentum and just use the old school ways that continue. You can still build on that. Hey,
I still do that in 2022.
Same. Yeah. Like I had today I was sitting in front of the computer. I just could not, I was meant to be writing something. I just couldn't think of anything else. So I just got offline and came back like an hour later, just full of ideas. I have to have you, you're on the show. You are a marketer. And what I love about your focus is what you said before about just creating strong word of mouth and treating people well. I've just was on LinkedIn before, and I had I imagine about 3 people to send me automated messages, and gosh, it just puts you off. Can you share maybe a bit of advice on how to build a business like with the client focus, and what you found that really works in sort of building clients that rave about the work that you do?
Okay, so I will speak from my experience, and I always say that don't any advice is not a general advice. I mean, in terms of like it is only for the learning purpose. It is not a short formula that would work for your business or whatever you're doing in life, right? But I will share what worked for me. So I I am now a serial entrepreneur. I have been building businesses right from zero with zero money. It's not like, okay, you started from scratch. The scratch means zero money as well. So for me, I segregated, if you need money in your business, so that is a product business. But if you have to start something absolutely zero, that is an intellectual business. So what is my intellect? What I can give without, having to hire 10 people or having to have a big office and stuff like that. So I always focused on my abilities to give. Like those are the lessons I learned from my first business, where I had partner, I had few employees and things like that. But that didn't go well. So I started a second business, which was completely focused on being a solopreneur, all alone. You are building that thing, right? So one of my brand is Host My Blog. And all I wanted to experiment with that is being solo, not investing in marketing or anything. But yeah, of course, I had to buy a server. So I borrowed a credit card from my sister and I was paying debts. It was going in negative all the time. But yeah, that helped me definitely. But at the same time, I wanted to build it completely organic. Organic in the sense that people should not come and question me. Like, who are you? People should come and, see me as an expert because I'm giving back. So for me, the formula of giving back was the formula to bring the traction. So what I started was, I started giving back my knowledge, and the right kind of niche, they started getting attracted to it. I am interacting with them. I am, answering their questions, and they gradually started looking at me as an expert, as a WordPress expert, as a hosting expert. So the first thing is a selfless giving back. You have a knowledge, you start giving back. Giving back will also help you get some eyeballs, but at the same time, it will also help you build your personal brand. People should know who you are. And only through that, they will recognize and accept your business. Because business is an entity, you are a human. People want to look up to you, who they are working with, right? So I started focusing on my personal branding through giving back. While doing that, people started recognizing, oh, what is this Host My Blog? Curiosity started. Like, I started getting DMs like, what is this Host My Blog? So that is the second phase where people, because of your trust that you're building on a public platform and you're adding face to your brand, people will start asking you, what is that you're doing? What is that tool? What is that business that you offer? And there is your showdown, where you present to them a solution. You're not selling anything. You're selling solution. They have a problem. You're the expert. You're selling the solution to them. And I started doing that. I would say that if I interacted with 10 people, none of them signed up, but that's okay, because they are going to go and talk to some people that, hey, there's this guy, don't buy anything from him, but he gives free advice. And that was working for me. All you need is patience and wait for the right time. And that time is going to happen because a lot of people are talking about it. And that is an unpaid marketing. Any sort of marketing is good, be it negative or positive. So here you're not making a lot of money, but you're making network, contacts, you're building your personal brand and trust, right? And then you start getting the signups, because out of 100, at least one person will come and sign up. And then that person will go and share about the great experience they're having. Now, I've been doing this for this particular brand since 2015 with 100% happiness ratio, 100% referral model. And let me tell you one thing, my clients are not even getting affiliated payment for the referrals. I don't have any affiliations. Wow. I don't have anything. Why? Because I don't want people to refer me because they will get something out of it. I want people to refer me because I'm good, because I'm handling their affairs better. I'm providing, solutions, and the way I am interacting with them, handling them, they love it. And when people love it, they go and advocate you. So my focus was completely simple. Start with a complete organic, and then focus on nurturing my clients by giving the top-notch support possible. And then, creating the customer advocacy, which will eventually boost my word of mouth. Now, this may not work for every business, but this is a sure shot formula, I would say, if you are completely a solo entrepreneur or an indie hacker. You don't have a lot of money or resources, but you can try this. It's all organic. Leverage the social media outreach,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree. I love, like, the best gift you can get from a client is a referral. And often I have a community called Booked Out Facilitate, and we often associate, we need new business, and we think, new leads. And we don't think about, well, what if we just created the most epic experience, like with the most helpful and generous people to our current clients, like what that would actually create. And it really does. The hard thing I find that also is back to timing and patience. And I'm so jealous that you're patient. I'd love to be more patient in my life, but to trust the process is, you're adding value, you're contributing. I'm assuming the platforms you're talking about are maybe some forums where you're adding advice, WordPress forums, Facebook, etc. And you're sort of just waiting for that someone to actually go to that second stage of curiosity, and that can take some time. And it's in that stage where people, I think, then will go, I'll try something different, or I'll stop doing this. And maybe if they just did it for another couple of days, things might have turned around for them. So that it's really hard to balance that. Do you find just the consistency and payoff journey?
When you're giving back, if you add your expectations to it, then you're going to get hurt. Okay. So for example, we do charity, and what we expect in return is probably get recognized as a philanthropist and click a picture, put it on the social media, get some recognition. I do a lot of charity and nobody knows about it because I don't like to show, So if you add your expectation while giving back, you are going to be anxious, you're going to be disappointed, you're going to be impatient. So when I started giving back, I was not expecting anything out of it. What was fulfilling was solving people's problems, and my day, starts with questions, ends with solution. That's a great achievement. And you made one person so happy, and the sense of like, okay, that person had a problem, but I managed to solve it. That's an achievement. Why you have to put money to everything? Don't add numbers to it. And you will start enjoying. That is what I keep saying, that, enjoying the journey. Don't put metrics and all that, let's enjoy. But yes, as a businessman, as a business person, you will always have that, okay, I want to change this into probably, I have to pay bills also, right? That's practical. But if you're doing this, if you're giving back, trust me, do it without any expectation. It is good for your overall mental health, and it is going to work. It just takes time. Just like any other tactics or strategies that you use, you trial and error, you fail, you succeed, whatever. But this one technique is something, if you get little success with this, like a personal branding while giving back, it is your lifetime asset.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Yeah. And what you're learning along the way as well, as you try to troubleshoot these problems, you become a better communicator. So it's all about just falling in love with the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, soft skills are important, and you build it. There's no course for it. You can't take an online Udemy course and say like, hey, I'm a communicator now. No, that's not going to work like that. You have to communicate to become a communicator. You have to talk to people. You have to understand, empathize with their problems. You have to solve their problems. Only then you can say that, hey, I understand people. And that is the core. And that is the important, I would say that is the important characteristic every entrepreneur should have. If you go and check my tweet, I just tweeted that being a founder, it's good to be a generalist,
Yay. Yay. Woo, I'm validated. I'm all about being a generalist. I did an episode on my previous podcast around people that are trying to specialize and niching down and how hard it is. And it's actually great to be a generalist. Like that's why I became a solopreneur. I love the variety. So why should I have to be my own prison? Hey, I love this statement you said, my day starts with a question, ends with solutions. That's powerful. That'll be the episode title here. Now, are you happy to go just through a quick rapid round, just a couple of quick questions to round this off?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So is there a book, Raj, that has shaped the way that you think?
Oh my God. I should say that I buy a lot of books, like I have like a complete cupboard full of books. I don't read them. Probably because, there's this sitcom, Younger. Okay.
Yeah. I love
it. These lead ladies, they're publisher and all that, right? So there's one statement which goes like, there's, the books cover and the title sell itself, not the content. Nobody cares about the content. There's this dialogue that says that. For me, I think I've been following that. If I like the title, if I like the preface, I buy it. If somebody recommends it, I buy it. That adds some hope and motivation to me. It's like, hey, I have that book. I know that book, but what's inside that, I don't know, because I probably don't have patience to go through that entire 100 pages or 200 pages. But yes, I catch a glimpse that what this book is all about. I buy it. Same goes for the courses. I buy a lot of online courses, and I probably have 100 plus courses right now in my account. None of that I've completed. But that gives me a motivation that, okay, this is what I want to do. I got a book and I just read the preface or what this book is about. And I'm like, okay, that's enough for me to know I am on my, I'm on a right path, I believe. And I just continue. So I don't think, there's any book I can credit to. But
That's
I love
great.
buying books.
I sort of joke, there's a book I've never read that I quote all the time. And the book title is It's Never Crowded Along the Extra Mile. I've never read the book, never opened the page, but I quote it all the time. I just love that title. And you know what the message is there, right? Like just go above.
So this is not really insane. People do that. Like
no, you're not insane, but there's a few books behind me I haven't read, but just that they look like I look cool by having them on my shelf. Yeah. Hey Raj, is there a favorite app or tool that you think everyone should download?
All right. So I would say that don't download any app. stay minimal as possible. But I think I like one of this app called Pocket. So anything that I love to read, but I'm not reading it right away. I want to keep it for a later read, maybe when I'm traveling or something. I just add it to my Pocket. So that is better than bookmarking it. So Pocket, it gives me a complete read right there inside the app. So I don't have to kind of click on the link and go here or there. So I like Pocket. And the second app that I am kind of using it probably more often is Notion, because Notion has become, my platform for like everything. I have an idea. Like recently I was flying and I'm like, okay, there's no internet. So what do I do? So I opened Notion. I started putting all my ideas in there. So it really helped. And the next moment I just opened my system and it was right there. So this cross syncing and all that, and Notion has too much to offer. So I am all in for that. Yeah. But for work, we use plenty tools, but I think these are my top picks.
Yeah, they're great. Pocket's really great for curating content. Notion is, I've just gotten onto it as well. And I think, as you said, there's so many options. I just did a course with Jenny Blake on how to create like a management dashboard. So that's really helped me out. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. Is there a song that really gets you excited and motivated?
Okay, so this is going to make me sound a little old, but I like the Animal song by Savage Garden.
Australian.
Yeah. So I think this came out back in 1999. Probably I was just 10, 11 years old. But that song is so relevant today also. It talks about the materialistic world and minimalism, how at least I live in a big city and I don't like it. I don't go out and, it doesn't feel right because things are changing. So all we need is a minimalist life, a carefree life, a place where, we can live peacefully. So this song actually resonates with all that I think as a mature man today. So I still listen to it and it just kicks me like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's got
I want
really
to live
nice
like animal.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says that I want to live like animal, careless and free like animal, just running around and things. So yeah, I mean, it feels good. I mean, you don't have to go literally with word to word, but you can relate that to the real life.
The philosophy, we'll take the meaning behind it. And final rapid round question. Do you have like a favorite quote that you'd like to share with listeners?
Okay, so one quote, so this movie, if you know Shawshank Redemption, okay, so that's one of my favorite movies also. And there's this one quote that says that hope is a good thing, maybe the best of the things, and no good thing ever dies. And probably I got to know this quote later in my life, maybe 10 years back. But even before that, I think hope was that one thing that was helping me to stay course and keep going. Like, okay, things will be good. Things will be better than this. So that that was all hope all along. So I think I love this quote. It's true.
I love that. And you've really just given us a story of hope throughout this entire interview. Raj, if listeners would like to reach out to you, find out more about the work that you do, where should we send them?
I'm all over. So I have my own personal website also. I'm more active on Twitter than LinkedIn. I am no more active on Tinder, so there's no point going there. But yeah, I think Twitter is the best place to catch up, DM. LinkedIn is another one, and I have my own website, so they can connect me.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that in the show notes. Raj, it's been so good to connect with you and hear more of your story. And thank you so much for sharing that message of hope and inspiration and patience with us today. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me today. It was really great talking to you.